The 1990s were the decade when Gen X came into their own. As these young people grew up, they latched on to many things that have become ingrained into the 1990s. Clothing trends were big in the 90s, but so was this new thing called the internet. And who could forget some of the memorable ad campaigns that made us laugh? So let's take a look back at some of the fads from the 1990s that you may have forgotten about. Clothing manufacturer Genera created a new fad when they came up with these t-shirts in the late 1980s, but they really caught on in 1991. The shirts used temperature-sensitive dyes that changed colors as you wore them. For the most part, the heat-activated color change was brought about by the wearer's own body heat, but a friend could easily leave a hypercolor handprint as well. Unfortunately, too much heat would ruin the dyes, so washing your hypercolor shirt in hot water would ruin it. This contributed to the shirt fading away rather quickly, and the Genera company went bankrupt in 1992. Grunge was not only a music genre, but it also had a huge influence on fashion choices. The musicians leading the grunge movement were a part of the Seattle sound, from the likes of Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, and Chris Cornell. They coupled angsty lyrics with flannel shirts, combat boots, and ripped jeans for what became the grunge style. Although the grunge look began in the mid-1980s, it didn't reach the suburbs until the early 90s. It was a disheveled look that young people latched onto because it seemed to be a rejection of all the other fads. Rediscover your past by digitizing your family's memories with Legacy Box. Watch until the end of this video to find out more about preserving your legacy, and then visit legacybox.com/recollection. Did you own a pair of overalls in the 1990s? Well, if you did, there's a good chance you rocked it with one strap unbuckled and hanging free. This trend originated with the hip-hop crowd, but made its way into Middle America too. This made overalls or dungarees cool again, and manufacturers took notice. They began catering to teens with special colors and patterns, along with making them into shorts as well. Today, we text each other with impunity, but in the 1990s, texting wasn't a thing yet, but chatting was. Real-time computer communication in the form of chat rooms or instant messaging was a new technology. Internet chat rooms really spread to the masses in the mid-1990s and was the beginning of internet anonymity, and quite possibly the start of trolling one another. In 1997, instant messaging really ramped up when America Online opened up its AOL Instant Messenger program to anyone, whether they were an AOL subscriber or not. This is also when the terms buddy list, IM, and away message entered the American lexicon. The 1990s certainly paved the way for the way we communicate in real time using our phones today. As if the bowl cut, mullet, and flat top wasn't embarrassing enough, boys in the late 1990s started to bleach their hair. Frosted tips was all the rage, and add in a handful of styling gel and you had the perfect boy band look. There was a standard hair dye, but some also used peroxide and sprayed it onto their hair to get the look. The fad continued into the early 2000s, and if you want proof, just find an old clip from MTV without seeing someone with bleached tips. The LA Raiders in the late 1980s and early 1990s were the bad boys of the NFL, and their hats and jackets were being worn by young people across the country to make a statement. West Coast rappers especially repped the gear, and the brand eventually began to be affiliated with gangs. Raiders apparel was even banned from some schools, which meant you couldn't wear that new starter jacket you got for Christmas. In the early 1990s, Reebok released a new basketball sneaker called Reebok Pump. The shoe had a basketball button on the tongue that allowed you to inflate air into the sole of the shoe and also release it. This shoe became very popular despite the huge retail price, which was the most expensive sneaker on the market at the time. And who could forget when NBA superstar Dee Brown pumped his pair up before competing in the 1991 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. And then he would go on to win the contest that year, skyrocketing sales of Reebok pumps. For most teenage boys in high school during the 1990s, the brands Massimo and Stussy were a pretty standard fashion statement. Both streetwear companies found a cult-like following with their graphic tees and shorts, especially within surf and skate culture. They were the cool guy brands that skyrocketed in the 1990s, and their rise would eventually lead Massimo to a licensing deal with Target, while Stussy continued to sell their clothing in their own branded stores. And who could forget No Fear? This apparel brand grew out of the extreme sports that became so popular during this time. Their t-shirts touted existential slogans that became popular with skateboarding, snowboarding, and motocross fans. So naturally, the brand could be found walking the halls of high schools too. Sleepovers in the 1990s were all about watching scary movies and playing some supernatural games. Raising a friend off the ground in light as a feather, stiff as a board was always a crowd pleaser. And then there was Bloody Mary, which was a little more frightening as you said her name 3 times in a dark bathroom. A lighter and fun game was Truth or Dare, which may have had you spilling your secrets or performing some outrageous task, but no matter what games were being played, it was still a time where imaginations ran wild. Before internet memes, there were viral email chains that spread across the world. One of the earliest was the famous Dancing Baby from 1996. The strange and quite creepy 3D baby danced the cha-cha and became popular by everyone sharing it through email. Then the baby made its way onto the television show Ally McBeal in 1998, becoming a reminder for her ticking biological clock. Finally, the beer giant Budweiser was absolutely on fire when it came to their commercials in the 1990s. There were the Budweiser frogs, who croaked the beer name while wisecracking chameleons added commentary. Then in 1999, Anheuser-Busch rolled out this ad.
Hello? What's that?
This one took on a whole new life, not only becoming one of the most successful ads of all time, but becoming a part of pop culture, with everyone getting in on the catchphrase. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to sign up for the Recollection Road newsletter using the link in the description. Recollection Road and Legacy Box both believe it's important to preserve the past. If you're like me, there's a box of your family's treasured home movies and photos tucked away somewhere, and Legacy Box can help you preserve them digitally. The process is a simple and safe solution for converting your home movies and photos to thumb drive or to the cloud. Just send in your Legacy Box filled with old VHS and camcorder tapes, film reels, and pictures, and get back digital copies that can be easily enjoyed, shared, and kept organized. It's that easy. Legacy Box is trusted by over 1 million people, and it's all done right here in the USA. Get started preserving your past today. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to get an incredible 55% off. Buy today to take advantage of this exclusive offer and send in your memories when you're ready. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to save 55% while supplies last. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching the other videos in this series. While you're at it, hit subscribe and share Recollection Road with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.